I lived in fear. I was scared. I wanted to end my life. They terrified me. What has happened to you doesn't have to define the rest of your life. I took the decision that I will not end my life and I will make something out of my life.
Today, I'm honored to be joined by Camellia LG, the author of The Spy Arena. But today is not simply a conversation about the book. It's a conversation about finding your voice after years of silence.
Your voice matters. You have to be ready as well, and I suppose you also have to give yourself the space to feel ready for that change. The moment when I actually really knew my purpose in life, and that's when I actually went through a profound spiritual awakening. I can tell you honestly that there is light out there.
Camellia, thank you so much for being here. I'm truly honored to have you here with us today.
Wow.
Let's begin at the beginning.
Thanks so much for that wonderful presentation. I'm absolutely speechless. And I just want to take a moment to actually really thank you for having me here today. It's an absolute honor for me to actually be here today and to be a guest on your podcast and to give me this opportunity to share my voice. Thank you.
For those who doesn't know yet your story, you wrote the book The Spy Arena, inspired by your the real experience. I know it's a thriller. Can you tell us about what inspired you to write this book and why you wrote the book?
Wow. Thanks so much for the question. I don't know from where to start really, and I don't know from where to start, and I genuinely feel like my heart is just jumping out of my chest when I talk about this book, because it's just been such a journey writing The Spy Arena, and as you can imagine, I didn't just wake up one day deciding that that's it. Today I'm just going to write a best-selling novel. It didn't happen like that actually. So I will try to go from the beginning, I suppose. Basically,
yes. I just want to know when was the I know you are an author of more books, but this book it's something about your private experience, basically your life. You told us The Spy Arena is a story of whatever experience and emotions you passed in your life. Can you tell us more about what is in the book?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what's the book about it? What is talking about?
Yeah, so the book, it's a spy thriller. So it's a thriller. At its core, it's a spy thriller, and it's a novel that will genuinely keep you on the edge of your seat until you actually finish reading it. But what inspired me to write it? So I suppose the beginning of this journey, because it's a long journey and I could be here talking all day to you about how I wrote this book and why and what's inside, because definitely a lot has been going on actually until the moment that led me to start writing it. So my writing journey and how I ended up writing this book started with me journaling. And I started journaling when I actually moved to Ireland from my home country, from Romania. And writing this book, so it was also very therapeutic. So I suppose I started with journaling, and then I started with writing poetry. I wrote so many poems over the years, but obviously not all of them saw the light of day. But I am the author of a poetry book as well, and I've contributed to a few poetry volumes, a few anthologies, and I have one more anthology coming up as well this year, hopefully, where I've contributed. But this book, it's so personal to me, and it's so dear to my heart because it's the only book that I've actually spent 10 years and a half of my life writing and rewriting the same story. So the book, it's about a young lady, a spy, and going back a bit to my own life, I've been through a lot of challenges and struggles. And I feel by writing this novel, I tried to give this lady that I write about, Diamanda White, I tried to give her the voice, the strength, and the courage to do something different in life and to transform her life.
Did you, for people who didn't read already your book, did you transpond in the book the emotions of your experience, or did you make your protagonist much courageous and much more powerful? How was exposed?
I grew up, so my upbringing has been really rough. I grew up in a lot of violence, and I experienced childhood sexual abuse, which brought me quite close to commit suicide. So absolutely, I totally resonate with what you've just said. So because I grew up suppressing my voice, I suppose on an unconscious level. So unconsciously, I felt drawn into writing a thriller about a lady that's very, very strong, and she is the total opposite of what I was. She's brave, she's bold, she has a lot of strength and a lot of courage. She has a lot of the attributes that I didn't have growing up.
So is this book, like what you wrote, was a healing book also for you? Was rewriting and reprogramming you as well at the same time? Was translating your, transponding your story in a different story that healed you as well? Is this?
Yes.
I'm in the process to read it yet.
Yeah.
So I didn't finish it. Like I'm in just the first chapters, but I can't wait to get there.
Oh, thank you.
So what you're telling me is all your story, you wanted to give to the protagonist much more strength and much more power than you had.
Yes.
But for you as well, probably was a transformation as well, because while you were writing this book, I heard you wrote this book in like 10 years. It took you 10 years. It must be so difficult. I think was so difficult for you to be able to put your story in a different way, but in the same way as well, because it's kind of showing what you go through, but showing as well the transformation. So I think it was, even for you, was hard and difficult to write at the same time, is it?
It was challenging. It was beautiful at the same time. It was therapeutic at the same time. It was healing. I mean, I went through a lot of emotions over the years while I was writing this novel, but definitely you are right in saying all of that. And I'm so excited that you're actually reading my novel. Thanks so much for buying it. I'm so grateful.
So lovely. It's so absolutely amazing. I recommend it to everybody. I just didn't finish it yet, but it's amazing from the start as well. So I can't wait to get there to know what's going on more forward. So
I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled. Thanks so much. So you are right in saying that a lot of my life has been going into this book, but from a different perspective, in a totally different way. And basically, I think it's safe to say and fair to say that I gave a lot of the emotions that I had myself, I gave them to my protagonist. But also, even though it's a spy thriller, so it's fiction, it's not a memoir, even though basically some of the events are from my life. So basically, I even wrote it actually on the cover of the book.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, why is called The Spy Arena? It is because she was a spy, or is just a name that you gave because she was acting like a spy?
Yeah, so she's a spy. You'll see more of the book as you progress and you finish reading it. So Diamanda, she's actually a spy, and the title, The Spy Arena, was channeled to me. I've received the revelation that this is how it's going to be called, The Spy Arena, but to be honest, I mean, I attempted twice over the years to actually publish my novel, but it was not meant to be. And now I know why. And I'm so excited to be here today and offering me the space to share with everyone, with your audience, why the title changed and why it was meant to be published, when it was published last year. So the first title I gave my novel was Hybrid. That goes back to 2016, 2017. And then...
What do you mean by hybrid? Like, tell us about the hybrid. When you think about hybrid book, what do you mean? Like,
so initially that was the title I wanted to give the novel. That's how I felt at the moment. Mm-hmm. I think it had to do with the lady I write about having more identities and more lives, more identities, I mean. So it was not very clear. Okay. Her trajectory was not very clear, so it was a mixed. And then in 2019, I attempted for the second time to actually publish my novel under a total different name, title. Excuse me, please. So the title in 2019 was Girl Insane.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yes, I remember this name as well. You were saying you want to publish the Girl Insane was the first name for this book. Is this the book?
Yes, it's the same.
It was an attempt in publishing, and then you change more into a different story again, or you worked on it?
Yeah. I just, so my novel was on pre-order stage, and right before it was meant to go live on Amazon, I just pulled it out of publication, and I just had this urge to keep writing on it. Mm-hmm. In my heart, it's like I always knew that something was missing from the book, and it was not meant to happen. It was not meant to be. It was not meant to be out there. And the reason for that, I believe, it's because I was not healed myself. And I suppose this is why the title was Girl Insane, because I was very much still traumatized from my upbringing and my childhood and teenagehood and everything I've experienced while I was living in Romania before I moved to Ireland.
Do you want to tell us some experience? Do you want to share with us today, or you feel it's not bad yet, or would you like to share with us the reason? I know it could be so difficult for you. Into your book you put totally like the powerful woman that you couldn't be maybe as a child or as a young girl, and also you transform your story in something much more therapeutic, as you said. Would you like to share with us some experience that you have in childhood or in your early stage of life?
Yeah, I grew up in Romania, and I've been through some traumatic childhood experiences and struggles, which I didn't even realize at the time, but they were actually going to affect me for the rest of my life. And the environment, so I'm talking about my experience, of course.
Yes.
I'm not talking for somebody else, but this environment, the environment where I grew up in, it was an environment where I was not just the victim.
Was not so safe for you, the environment?
Yes. Yeah, so it was just not only myself, a victim of physical abuse, but I also witnessed a lot of physical violence around me as well. So I feel like I grew up in an environment in the 90s and the early 2000s, where basically I felt like it was this era of physical violence basically was pretty much, very much accepted as the norm in society, not only in people's homes, but also even when you went outside. So even externally to your house, it was still violent.
Did you think was a reality at that time? You were talking about the 90s and 2000.
Yes.
Did you see more episodes like that around your environment where you were living, like people more abused or things like that? Yes, you experienced a lot of...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only that I grew up in, a pretty abusive environment, but like, even if you went to school, you would see teachers beating up kids basically for not paying attention in class or for talking in class. So it was an environment where everywhere I went, it was abusive and it was not safe. And then
starting from your environment on the home and then going to school and then going with your friends, the same was not safe for you. That's what you're saying. Your environment, all of your environment was not safe for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, that it was just my life experience, and I'm at peace with this now.
Yes, I know you had a lot of healing and therapeutic work all these years. Can you share with us how did you manage to heal, basically, from all the pain, all the struggle, and whatever like you were seeing was not right? Because when you look around and you see a world which is not feeling right and not feeling a safe place, how did you see your life? Did you see your life that you can't go on with this? You just need to do something else? Did you have the strength? Did somebody help you? Or just you had to do it by your own?
I had no support, unfortunately. I didn't have a very protective or supportive environment, sadly. And so I didn't feel I had the support that I should have had and that I needed. I didn't have any of that. To be honest, I actually don't know how I'm still alive, because I've experienced sexual abuse as well.
What age you were being? Like what age you were when happened this?
So I was a preteen teen when it started to happen. But having said that, I was still a child. I was still not in a position to actually to give my consent to anything.
And did you understand what was happening to you, or it was something that you couldn't believe was happening to you, or why is happening to you? When was happening this episode into your life, or more episodes? If you told me it was like a unsafe environment, probably was more episodes. What did you think at that time about you and about life?
I wanted to end my life. I knew it was wrong. I couldn't comprehend it at the time because I was still a child. But I knew it was wrong. They were physically abusing me. So I've been a victim. It's actually hard to talk about such a sensitive
it's okay.
subject without getting emotional.
Yes.
And I never actually imagined that I will ever say my story in public because I lived in fear. I was scared. People who abused me, manipulated me, threatened me, and basically they terrified me into keeping it silent about the abuse. So I grew up in fear.
So nobody knew about it, neither your family or nobody around you knew, neither friends. You didn't talk with nobody, or you talk, or nobody helped you anyway.
I was threatened, so I never had the strength to actually talk about it. But a lot of events happened actually, which we probably need to do more podcasts to cover more.
Yes,
because I've been through a lot. But I didn't have the support that I needed and I should have had. And the only escape I could see with my eyes at the time, the only escape I could have seen was to leave behind that toxic environment. That was not a world I could have lived in anymore. I wanted to commit suicide. I always knew since I was a little girl that I don't belong there. I felt like,
what am I doing here?
So yes, I felt so alien to that environment. That was not me. I didn't know why I was actually put there. Well, now I know because I've done a lot of healing and therapy, intensive therapy, and a lot of personal development and personal growth workshops over the years. So now I have a better understanding, and I'm also a strong believer in reincarnation. So I have a better grasp of why was I meant to actually experience those traumatic experiences, because it's such a severe trauma that not only leaves scars, but it literally affects the rest of your life.
So you were saying you wanted to commit suicide, and what made you not do it? It was something inside of you that it was saying
that I don't feel if I'm quite ready yet to explain what had happened that day.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was still very traumatic. But there was this day when something happened, and I'll probably feel more ready to actually talk about it in the future. But
what was the strength basically that you said, no, I want to leave now? Because you were saying I wanted to die. I didn't felt like I want to live here anymore. So what was something inside of you that told you, no, you are meant to do something else, like you don't do it? It was a voice inside of you telling you not to do it, or a conviction, or a person that told you not to do that?
I feel like I just took the decision at the end of my life, and I took the decision to leave that environment and that village where I grew up and the nearby town, and I just took that decision that I'm not going to end my life. The thought that I had, I still remember it.
Mm-hmm.
I took the decision that I will not end my life and I will make something out of my life. I didn't know what it was. I was always afraid of speaking up because of so many threats I've endured over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But what was I going to say? So basically, I feel like as a child, it's not your fault for what happens to you. It was not my fault.
Exactly.
And if there is any listeners out there today watching this podcast, I really want to share this message with your audience to say that
share with us.
To say that even though childhood abuse exists and sexual abuse exists as well, when you're a child, it's not your fault for what happened to you. It was not my fault either. However, I very much encourage you to actually seek help, to seek therapy, and to tell somebody, to actually tell someone that you trust 100% with your life. Because this is how healing starts. And I've been quite emotional because it's still very hard for me. And it's relatively new for me actually to talk so openly about my trauma, which I genuinely feel that I've healed, but it's such a complex subject that we could actually continue doing this podcast for the rest of the week, and we will probably still not be finished talking about trauma and its effects that's got on your life and your mind and your emotional, even your physical health as well.
So it's very complex. You got after this, you told me after you took the decision to leave, and what did you do after that? You just left the country, or you just took the decision to leave the environment you were, and you said, my life is going to be different from today? You did that, or it was something else? I just want to try to understand what was going on after.
So, lucky for me, somebody up there still loves me for some reason, and I managed to actually leave my country, and I just ended up, I landed here in Ireland.
Okay.
I landed here in Ireland, and basically, I actually feel so blessed. Forget the trauma and everything. I feel so blessed in my heart, and I'm so blessed that even though all of my life has been horrific, I feel so blessed that once I took that decision that I'm going to live through this, like I will. I just wanted to leave everything behind and never look back. But obviously it's not that easy because the pain still stays there. It's just not bleeding as strongly, constantly, right? But I feel blessed because I turned to books. Fiction was my escape from my reality, which was too painful to face. And I feel so lucky because after I moved to Ireland, from my need to learn English, it was necessary, it was a need. Like I had to achieve this goal. Like I have to, if I move to a country, I have to adapt not only to their culture, but I have to speak their language, right? So I started reading so much, not only newspaper or magazines or everything I could get my hands on, but definitely books. I started reading so many books, and unfortunately, it's so sad, but so many people who experienced severe trauma, so many people turn to drugs or alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad. I'm so sensitive to human suffering. It's so sad.
You're right.
But for some reason, I turned to fiction. I found books as an escape from my reality, and I became obsessed, a complete book addict. I became obsessed with books, and I feel like this is also how I ended up writing and becoming a published author. And I thank God that I didn't turn worse. It could have been a lot worse.
Congratulations that you had that strength. And now I feel you have a lot to give to humanity and to people. It's because you passed so many things, but it's not about what you passed, actually. It's about what you can share with people, and you win the pain. You just win. You had the courage. You have the courage to start over. You took a decision. You healed. You transformed. So now I think you are ready to show to other people that everything can be possible, and also the healing and the transformation, because that's what we want to talk about more today. It's not about, yes, it's painful. Yes, it's something that it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen, and I will never say that what happened was good because it wasn't good. It was absolutely devastating.
Yes.
But also, despite all the pain and all the suffering, I am so thrilled to actually be able to say that there is light out there. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and there is hope. And there are people, good people out there, and very kind people also. Not everybody it's a pedophile, or not everybody it's a dangerous human being. Not everybody is the same.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, on the back into times when you were telling me about the abuse, you actually thought that a lot of people are like that? You actually thought everyone is like that? or you thought somebody else is better as well and life can be different as well? Did you have the other, like a duality? Did you have something else, like you said, oh, that's what's happening to me, but I know it's something else? Or just in your mind you see everything was so wrong everywhere, whatever you were?
Well, since I was a little girl, I've seen things that no child should ever see in this life. So I grew up not only suppressing my voice because I've been mentally trained to keep quiet, but I also grew up believing with all of my heart that there is only bad people out there. I was convinced. Actually, it's a very good question. And thank you for asking me, because somehow I knew there is bad people out there because I've seen the worst of people. Mm-hmm. But I suppose somehow in my heart, somebody somehow or God told me that there has to be good out there in the world as well, because I started to have this strong desire to actually escape and leave my home country and go somewhere else. So I feel like somehow in my heart, even though I was still very innocent and very immature at that age, I left my country when I was pretty young.
What age you were when you went
I don't
away?
even remember exactly. It must have been maybe early 20s or something. Like I was pretty young. But somehow I must have believed in myself that there has to be good out there. Like not everything can be just darkness, there has to be something good.
There was that light in you that was guiding you, telling you it is another way.
Yeah.
And when you came here in Ireland, did you actually notice was another way, or just you still didn't see it yet?
Oh my God. As soon as I actually, hopefully I won't need tissues actually. Hopefully the worst is over. As soon as I moved to Ireland, I just felt safe. Like I've been renting many different properties over the years, and I moved here and there and I've traveled around the country quite a bit. I love road trips. I mean, even this month, I go with my family on a road trip. We go to Northern Ireland. Every year we try to do a few trips. I love this country. So basically, everywhere I went, I felt safe and I felt at peace. I feel like when I moved here, for me, it was life-changing. It was game-changing. I saw men respecting women. In my country, I didn't see that. I mean, we possibly grew up in different villages or different towns or cities around the country, but where I grew up, especially in my nearby town where I did my secondary school and so on, I mean, you are harassed every day. You are being harassed every single day. If you went down the street, like there will be guys, younger adults or even older adults, male adults, that will just whistle and make comments at you. And, like you feel harassed, you don't feel safe. I never felt safe. So as soon as I came here, like I felt safe. And I apologize if that sounds very negative, but as I said, that was my experience. And my experience, it's not your experience perhaps or somebody else's experience, but that's what happened to me. I still go back now to my home country because I've made peace.
I'm so happy to hear that. From your story, I'm just realizing how much courage you have. And you have that strength in you that change your identity, actually, because when you come to Ireland, you actually took a decision just to change your identity. You just took a decision, my life is going to be different and I'm going to make it different. And that is absolutely amazing. It's something that it needs courage for that. So this is amazing what you've done. But I'm sure of that courage as well brought you as well to heal more as well. So that probably was starting. When did you actually start to feel more pain? Was it when it happened, or was it after it happened, like when you start to have a normal life?
I just want to go back to the identity,
Yes.
what you just said about identity. It's so funny, though, speaking about identity, because as soon as I moved to Ireland, I kind of changed my identity, because back in my country, everybody knew me by, let's say, middle name, which is Luisa. Something funny happened. After finishing my college, I've graduated with an honors degree in business with psychology. Education itself and still is very important to me. So after I finished my college and I went on and to have my first internship, it was in a recruitment agency. I still remember, and I will remember for the rest of my life. And it was meant to happen. There was this gentleman who was talking to me right in this interview room, and he looked at my name, which is quite long, like it's Camellia Luisa Juzan, which is why even for my book, I'm just using my initials.
Yes, I noticed it's LG
Yes.
Camellia.
Yeah.
It's actually so beautiful, LG Camellia as well.
Thanks so much.
So,
Thank you. And this gentleman, he looked at me and he said, well, to have you set up and work for our company, you need an email address, which usually it's first name, dot surname, at the company name, whatever, .ie or whatever. And he looked at me and he said, Camellia is posh. And I just felt in that moment that was an opportunity for me to leave my old identity behind, to leave Luisa behind and all of her trauma, and be known everywhere in Ireland as Camellia. And to this day, I'm still Camellia, and I'm very much embracing my identity.
Camellia is not actually your name, Camellia?
It is actually.
So it's Luisa Camellia, both names.
It's the other way around.
Oh, it's Camellia Luisa.
It's Camellia Luisa. So thanks to that man, actually, since then, I'm known as Camellia. Very few people now know me as Luisa. Like, I don't even...
They were calling you Luisa.
Camellia. Starting from that moment, they were calling me Camellia, because they had to set up this company email address. So it was camellia.guzan at whatever. So from that moment, I never went back to Luisa. I just felt like literally a new person on some level, of course, not 100%. But
I just want to ask you another thing. I know I don't want to get back too much onto your traumas, because I know you already overpassed them and you already healed, and I'm sure you're going to help a lot of people because of this as well.
So I'm here today.
Yes.
Sharing my message, and hopefully...
That's what I was about to ask you. If you had to send a message to a teenage girl or a girl that is passing whatever you passed in your past life, what will be that message?
Oh my God, that's such a deep question.
Profound, yeah.
And profound. Thanks so much. It's so profound. I mean, there is so much I would like to say, actually. First of all, I will be so sorry that this happens to someone, and sadly I know it continues to happen, but this is why one of the reasons why it's happening is because abuse, it's not being reported, unfortunately. So let's say if I was to be a psychologist or a psychotherapist right now, one of the very first things that crosses my mind now, and I would like to say, is that, I mean, of course, I'm so sorry that this happened. And basically, what has happened to you doesn't have to define the rest of your life. If there is anything I've learned through my healing journey, which unconsciously started as soon as I actually moved to Ireland, if there is anything I have learned, it's that your voice matters. And it's okay to speak. It's okay. Speak with someone that you feel safe with, and you know that you can trust that person. It's so important, because as a child, as a preteen or teen, I didn't feel that I had that person, not even in my family, that I could actually turn to and talk to. So speak to someone that you trust, basically. And
so speaking is the first step that you recommend that someone like someone going through a this, just speaking with somebody and tell, but
yeah, you have to speak up. It's the only way we can try to put an end to abuse and have a positive impact in the world and leave the world a better place. Keeping silent about the abuse protects the abusers, not the victim. You know, the more you keep silent, the more abuse is allowed worldwide. And we have to make a change for our future generations and for our children. Like, I'm a mother of 3 children now myself.
Yes.
I would hate if that happened to my kids, but I will report it.
Yes.
I didn't have that support. Nothing was reported in my case, but it has to be reported. And unfortunately, though, now that we talk about this, it's so sad, but the statistics probably show that 1 in 3 girls get abused. How much gets reported? Probably the percentage is very low.
Yes.
And many times the abusers don't get the punishment that it should take place.
Because when you go through this, it's not only the pain, but you going through life with this pain. You just pass over and over and over, and you feel again shame, or maybe while the time is passing probably, and then you heal. But while you're healing, you're gonna you pass through all these things, and you try to understand how to heal them. What would you say to the people who get through these situations? What was a way out? How is the best way out of the feeling like shame, or the feeling not enough, or the feeling like somebody did something to you and you feel that pain that is, it's not right, but you carry it. You just carry it while you're working for your healing. What message will you transmit to the people that are passing this situation, basically, and to heal much faster? Would you know what they can do?
So I can share my experience with healing, and hopefully it helps people out there. As a matter of fact, I've always been terrified of public speaking because I've been mentally trained to actually keep silent and suppress my voice, because speaking up came with consequences which were bad for me. So basically, so as I was saying, so speaking came with consequences, but healing, so I can talk from my own experience, but I just want to say that this is the reason why I'm here today, even though I've always been terrified of public speaking. Now I have healed. Healing is beautiful. It's so liberating. But I want to actually help people. And there is a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And even though I felt fearful coming here today and record this podcast, I did it anyway, because my purpose is bigger than my pain. My purpose to help.
Wonderful.
It's bigger than my fear of public speaking, because I really want to help people. And
do you feel this was your purpose, that you had to pass through all this situation, and from all this, I know you had courage, and your life changed, but do you think also created a purpose in life for you?
Yes. Going through my healing journey, which I still haven't really gave clear answers yet, I realize now, but I will try to do so. What I've learned, there was a mindset coach, actually that I've met last year, because only last year I've done my deepest profound healing ever, right? This coach asked me, so I was telling this man, he's a coach, and I was telling him that I was sexually abused. And he looked at me and he said, "What did you learn from it?" And that still hurt me. I mean, I'm telling someone that I've been abused and you're asking me about the life lessons. I mean, in my mind, I was probably like, how dare he ask me what I've learned? Like, I mean, only God knows what I've been through. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel I wasn't ready to answer that question at the time because I was still very much in possibly anger, in confusion, in resentment, and still very much in pain. So I didn't give a clear answer. But looking back now, I realized that even though the abuse was awful, there are life lessons that I took away, which, first of all, I feel that I've learned compassion for people. I hate human suffering. So I've learned to have compassion for people who suffer. And I've also learned, especially through writing The Spy Arena, I've learned that you can actually turn that pain into something beautiful, into art, into poetry, into whatever form or shape of art it is. You can actually transform pain into purpose, and that's just beautiful. And I'm still having tears in my eyes now, but it's actually beautiful. When you reach the end of the tunnel, it's so beautiful. Sorry, I was interrupting you. And I feel like I've also learned to actually speak up because I have been silent my entire life. And now, as I said, feel the fear and do it anyway. I am speaking up. I am speaking up.
That's so beautiful. Absolutely amazing.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations.
And during my healing journey, I also learned, absolutely, I've learned my life purpose, my mission, which is actually to help people. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay. Take your time, it's no problem.
It's so beautiful to actually reach the light at the end of the tunnel and see humanity with different eyes. Yeah, it's beautiful. So even though abuse in general it's awful, but there is hope, there is healing, and I can't describe in words how liberating that feels. Actually, I feel free for the first time in my life. I mean, I am here with you today speaking up, and that's freedom. That healing gave me the right to have an opinion and not suppress my voice and actually not keeping silent about it. And you mentioned earlier about shame. Mm-hmm. That keeps people trapped. Mm-hmm. So trapped. It keeps some people trapped for an entire life. And God brought my way the right people this past year since I've done my most profound healing, brought my way the people who actually were like a testament to convince me and to show me that I am on the right path and this is my purpose to inspire and to help survivors. Because people I actually genuinely didn't expect, females and males also, turned up to me to say, Camellia, I've been through this also. You know, I mean,
so now you
what
get,
proof do I want? What
so
more
now
do I
you
want?
Get even men's or males that like gender male, basically, they tell you.
I had a few coming my way.
So they told
and
you
opened up to me. And that was proof to me that I'm on the right path. And I've attracted those people to show me.
Your right path, you see it as a purpose to help people that was abused, sexual abused, only in this area or just another area as well? Like you see your life going only this way of helping people? Like you would help people more for like the people who were abused. So from your experience and from whatever you healed.
So in the future, and I'm working on a few projects at the moment just so I can actually start to help people, because I'm only getting started. Once you're free from the pain, you get started. Like I'm only now starting to live, generally speaking, and my mission, the way it's been revealed to me and the way I see it, is that in the future I will work with people and help people heal survivors not only of sexual abuse, because
so
trauma has many shapes. Yeah.
Yes.
Trauma has many shapes.
So it's for all the traumas.
Yes.
It's because, why do you think it's about all the traumas? Because you think the sexual abuse, it's actually covering all the traumas. That's why.
Well,
can be that.
Trauma, I feel like it's such a complex subject. And I feel like even though I'm reading books, hundreds of books since I'm like 20, 21 or so, I still don't know enough. Like I will continue to grow and evolve and learn as time goes by. But I feel like trauma, it's so complex. And it's not just sexual abuse that causes trauma. You could lose someone. You could lose your house in the fire. You could just lose something and fall into depression. Or trauma can really impact so many areas of your life. In my case, it affected my relationships the most because I could not trust people. I could not trust both men and women because they've let me down. So only last year, when I healed for the first time in my life, I felt open to accept people into my life.
What do you mean by accepting people into your life? Like, what kind of people?
I felt even open to build friendships because before that, I found it very difficult. I was just surviving. I was in survival mode. Like I was going to work and put a smile on my face and pretend that I was happy when I was actually literally dying inside. So coping with trauma, coping with depression, I think that you have to be a really good actor or a really good actress. That's what I can say from my own experience, because I have been hiding my trauma my entire life because of shame, because of fear, because of I was trained to suppress my voice. It's so many factors that contribute to it. It's so many factors that contribute to it, I believe. But once you go through your healing journey, you become more open.
You feel
and
more
loving,
more free and open, isn't it? It's I just see you. I've seen you a few years ago as well, and you look a totally different person today. I can see. I know you can't see that, or maybe you just don't realize because you know the way the perception. I had the honor to see you even 3 years ago or 4 years ago in 2023.
Yes.
For a few times we met each other, and I can see your journey and your transformation. It's so empowering and so inspiring.
Thanks so much.
And it's given us so much. You see, it's example. You are an example of transformation, and the things can be once you're healing, the life can change completely and has different stages, which I notice on your face and your being as well. Like, you know, even now you talk much more very easy with and you are much more open like before, because you could see it. You could see it. I could notice this. Not everybody probably, but I'm so inspired about your journey so much. That's
Thanks so much.
I kept so much that you could be into my podcast today, because I believe your story can help a lot of people not identify themselves with the pain, but identify themselves with a possibility and the power of the transformation. So the message today is about how you transformed your life and your identity, and that everything is possible, which is amazing. All the journey you did, it's absolutely great. What I want to talk now about is you mentioned you changed your life from Romania to Ireland, and you have also a family, 3 kids and the husband. So when was the first time you actually start to talk about what you actually felt inside with the people, not the therapist, because it's the first time we talk with the therapist. Maybe you realized you need to heal much more. Did you actually knew you had to heal straight away? Like you knew that? No, you just find out that you had to heal more and more. So how was starting? You seek help on the therapist? You felt something? Did you start a depression or something? How did you realize all this?
I've lived in chronic depression for my entire life until I went in intensive therapy in 2024. I've done intensive therapy. I could not cope anymore. So even though healing, unconsciously, I believe I've started my healing journey way back.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when you are strong enough to face the pain head on and confront the pain and the memories that gave me nightmares for years, and I could not sleep. And that's why I was reading books all night, every day of my life for like 20 plus years now. I still read at night. I just love reading. But Did
you dissociate actually about the facts, what was happening to you? Did you remember everything, or you didn't remember nothing? Or was just flashes coming to you?
Flashes, dissociation, full memories, like I've been through all of that. But just to go back to your previous questions, if that's okay, please, just to go back there for a moment. So true healing didn't start, at least in my experience, true healing didn't start until I had the strength to confront my memories full on. Because before that, I was afraid to go back there in the pain, even though I was always trapped in the past, in that space, in that pain. It's kind of like, let me put it this way. The wound has always been there. It was just not bleeding forcefully every day. It was bleeding different every day. But I decided that I want to heal after my third child was born.
That's what I was about to ask you. Was the child that changed?
Yes. I just knew I could not live anymore like that, trapped in the past all the time. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. So yes, when I had my third baby, a little girl, she's 4 now. So I've been doing therapy. I've started my therapy seriously 4 years ago, when Amber Luna was born.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes,
so
thank you.
Wonderful.
So I faced the painful face on. You have to go there.
Did you take a decision? You said, I just want to get through this. I just want to finish this. I just want to be good.
Yes.
Did you take this decision?
I took that decision because I'm still working on myself every single day, and I will continue for the rest of my life to be better than what I was yesterday. But yes, I took that decision, and that's the first step. You need to have that desire and the will. If you don't have the will, I suppose it's going to be probably a slower process. But once you have the will and the desire, that's when you actually start healing for real.
Did you find, since you're a teenager or you moved to Ireland as well, did you find, you changed your identity, you worked to personal development and healing, but did you find yourself as well thinking differently from years ago? Like the thinking changed through the years so much? The thoughts and the thinking?
Absolutely. And now I'm practicing, I'm trying to practice even more and more every day. When a thought comes into my mind that's not the right thought, I say thank you for sharing. Because if you let it, so it's kind of like changing your vibration and shifting it towards something else more pleasant. Because if I let that thought stir away in my mind, like it's going to get bigger and bigger and it's going to create more problems. So I've learned this from other coaches around the world. I've traveled a lot, especially last year. I've traveled so much to do healing workshops and personal growth workshops. And I've learned from these coaches that if you say thank you for sharing, it's such an easier way to tell your mind to be quiet. And then you can redirect your attention on something else. Or what I also, especially lately, what I also tell myself in my mind quite a lot, and it's not my phrase, it belongs to T. Harv Eker. I'm not paid to promote him, by the way, but it's so good and it helps me so much that I just want to share this with your audience as well, if that's okay.
Yes.
What you focus on expands. I remember this in my mind every single day. What you focus on expands. Even me being nervous to come here today. You know, like I felt nervous, but if I let that, maybe something would have happened and maybe I couldn't make it here anymore. But I decided to still come, and
I'm so happy that you're here and you made it. I'm so happy.
Thanks so much for giving me the space to actually share my voice here today.
I can see through you that, I don't know, I just see the light in you now when I watch you, and when I see the story, but I don't see so much the story. I see the progress, the transformation, the development, the changing, the identity, everything that you twisted around. It looks like kind of like even the book, like you change everything inside there, and it's a lot of action. But tell me about, you said your decision was taken when you had the third child. The third child, basically, why was the third child and not the first? Why was passing so much before you saying, no, that's it, I'm going to shift everything? What was going on before that? You took the decision 100%.
I had my first child 1 year after I wanted to commit suicide. I was not ready.
Okay.
You have to be ready as well, and I suppose you also have to give yourself the space to feel ready for that change. When my son Luke came along, I also had a strong desire. But the more you live the pain, eat away at you, the worse it becomes. And once I had my third child, I just kind of probably knew in my heart that I'll never be a good mother for these kids if I'm consumed by pain every day. My daughter, she's actually 17 now. She didn't know about my abuse until I felt ready and until I felt that she has the appropriate age to know about it.
Yes.
I didn't tell her until she was 15 and a half. It was like 2 summers ago, exactly 2 summers ago. And she said, Mom, now I understand why I saw you crying growing up every day of your life. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional now, but even talking about this with my own daughter, it was very difficult also. Speaking about disclosing trauma to somebody else, it's something that for some people, it's very hard to say it out loud because you are so much hurt that you just can't get the words out.
Yes.
You just can't get them out because it's so hard.
Yes.
So even to say it to my daughter, I was doing therapy at that stage. Now I remember that's kind of how I had the courage to tell her. Because it's so many beliefs even in society that influences a woman to keep quiet about the abuse, such as shame. But
why did you feel you had to talk about this with your child? Like you mentioned that she was 15 and a half.
Yes.
And you felt ready because you were afraid she will get through the same situations or something like that might happen?
Living in fear and living with trauma. And again, I'm talking from my own experience.
Mm-hmm.
Once I became a mother, of course, it taught me a lot of life lessons, such as responsibility. But people like me who experience trauma, it also taught me how to be protective of my own kids. And possibly I've become overprotective. That's something that maybe we can do a podcast with my daughter in the future, and hopefully she will be your guest in the future.
Yes.
Because I may have been the other way around and I may have become overprotective. But one thing that sexual abuse taught me, it's to teach my kids sexual education, which, in my opinion, as a mother, I feel it's so important. Because back in the day where I grew up in Romania, it was not a thing that actually mothers, grandmothers, and people often discussed, especially not in small villages where everybody's ashamed of each other, or like, those type of mentality back there. So unfortunately, like, I haven't had the privilege to actually have someone close to actually talk about it. But I didn't want my own daughter, I didn't want her to actually grow up and find out about it the wrong way, which is through abuse, which I experienced with brutality. I didn't want her to find out the wrong way. And I also didn't want her to find out in the streets from other kids growing up talking about it, or even at school. So as soon as I actually felt the right age, she was at the right age to comprehend, to understand, I've actually discussed with her about it, and she was in between. She was less than 10 years old when I've had my first conversations with her about sexual education. And I've bought those books from Amazon as well, even with pictures and age appropriate, of course. Lovely. She was 9.5. I still remember to this day. She was 9.5 when I've had my first conversations with her. So I felt having her know about what it is, basically teaching her about what this is. I knew if touch wood, something was to happen to her, she would feel the support in me to come to tell somebody, because I can't stress this out enough. It's so important to tell somebody. So I knew she will have the strength and the courage to come and tell somebody, which was her mommy, because she knew she will be safe with me and protected.
You were talking about the therapist. So after you've been to the therapist and the therapist, she helped you so much, you start to think about, and you took the decision to heal 100%. Did it shift immediately for you, and it took a while, and was a journey again till you got through all this healing 100%, like through the healing basically? Did it shift your mindset as well? Did you give you more hope that you can do more? Did you see more possibilities? Did you see actually that your power is growing more and more and more?
Yeah, absolutely. So having the right help, the right guidance helps you a lot with your new perspective over life and how you see yourself now and the future. But what I realize now, listening to your questions, is that I've never talked about the moment when I actually really, really knew my purpose in life. And that's when I actually went through a profound spiritual awakening. It was not revealed to me in therapy necessarily, although therapy helped and has its own role and its own job. It helped me a lot. I suppose therapy helped me a lot to be more open to receive more guidance from above, from source, from God, or whatever way you want to call this divine source.
Yes.
But it was actually when I had my spiritual awakening that I knew this is my life purpose. And I knew this is my life purpose since 4 years ago. But I fought against it and I resisted it because I could not accept it. It was shown to me, like it was revealed to me that you went through this. This is your baggage of trauma over your shoulders, but you had to experience real pain. So once you know real pain, you'll know how human suffering feels. And you'll be able to understand the pain and help other people, help other survivors. And when I was receiving all those revelations, I was against them. I didn't want them. I didn't want to change people's lives because all I wanted for myself actually was just have my job, have a decent job, have the income monthly, the stability of a job, and have the holidays every year with my kids and with my husband. So when everything was really revealed to me, I was at war with God.
Why you said about the spiritual awakening? It was like a faith in you. Let's talk about the spiritual awakening. Actually, how it's happened. So you passed through a depression, And you said it was a depression that was going on from a long time.
Yeah.
You were seeing like a dark side on all inside of you was dark, but you were acting so great on the outside because you're supposed to be very, very...
I looked functional on the outside.
Yes.
Yes, I looked, yeah.
So how this spiritual spiritual awakening was coming after you got through depression, and how did you know was a spiritual awakening? Did you have that faith in you? Was something like you knew was a spiritual thing? Did you have meditation?
I was doing meditation. So journaling, we've touched base on journaling. That was a major part of my healing. And I recommend anyone to do journaling. It's absolutely fantastic. And it does so much good to you because personally, I feel like what I had no strength to speak out loud, I was writing down. So I still, unconsciously, I still found a way to actually put out there what hurt me, you know?
Yes.
But to be honest, even when I was journaling, I was still not writing down that I was sexually abused.
Yes.
Because even in writing, I didn't have the strength to put it down in case somebody will actually find it and see it. I had so much fear in me, but I was writing something else. I was kind of like avoiding the words, but I was still putting it out there that I've been through stuff. But when the spiritual awakening happened, I didn't know what it was. I mean, I just woke up one day having all those clairvoyance flashes and these revelations. And I was a bit terrified at first. I didn't know how to, I didn't know what to make out of them. But going through therapy and having the right support and having the right space and guidance helped me realize what was happening to me. So yes, I was doing meditations. That's one of the biggest tools I actually have used over the years to heal. And I can't believe we've been here, I don't know even for how long, and I haven't touched base on meditation. Oh my God. So journaling, meditation, absolutely. And even positive affirmations. I've been doing so many of those over the years. But my therapist helped me understand like what was happening to me during that time when I was receiving the revelations. So that's how I found out my purpose. And that's how I found out that my purpose is bigger than my pain. And that's how I've learned that this is my journey now. I've been through that. I've seen the darkness, but now I will focus on the light. And I've reached the light, basically. But I was giving out to God. I was fighting with God constantly for 3 years straight. Why did He let me go through that? Why was not enough one instance of assault or abuse? Why it had to be more? Like, was once not enough? And the answer was that no. Have I been abused once and had the right support? I would have healed. The course of my life, the trajectory of my life would have been so different. But having known more severe trauma and more pain, I have even a stronger desire now to actually make a positive impact in the world, because I believe we all have some sort of responsibility to actually leave the world a better place than how we found it when we landed here.
Yes, exactly.
So I was against my mission, but it's only last year, in April, towards the end of month April, beginning of May last year, that's when I actually healed. I made peace with my past.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I made peace with my past, peace with my country, peace with the people, and I've accepted everything, including even new people in my life and new friendships and new opportunities.
How you see your future from now on?
So I will work on a few projects in the future. So definitely it's going to be more books. I just hope it's not going to be another 10 years, but definitely I will try to make it in a shorter amount of time. So it's going to be more books because I have so much to actually share with the world. Definitely I will write either a memoir or a bio. Again, with the intention of actually serving people, because I'm here to serve. Even me sitting here today with you,
yes,
you know, I am here because I want to serve. I want to I hope to help people, and I want to empower survivors. I'm here to tell people that, and encourage people that healing is possible. And I'm living proof that it is possible. But it was only last year when I healed that I've accepted my mission. And since then, you've probably seen me on social media.
Yes.
I now make videos and I talk openly about abuse and trauma. Yes. And I will continue to do that. So to answer your question, it's not just going to be books in the future, but it's going to be workshops. I very much want to do a healing workshop.
So
I look forward.
I'm looking forward for it as well. Can't wait.
I look forward to that. I don't know when it's going to happen. Yeah, thanks so much.
I think it's going to help so much people. Like your experience is going to help so many people that needs to be, that needs an example as well, how to get through all the life situation as well, because you really had a very strong emotions and very strong life living, and you are the proof that everything is possible, which is absolutely amazing. So hopefully it's gonna arrive this message to more people all over the world. I
really hope so.
Yes.
I really hope so that if it's anyone out there listening to this podcast today and it's still in the darkness, I can tell you honestly that there is light out there. You just have to be opened and allow it to happen into your life. Create the space in here, and it's gonna come. Oh, I get goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps because I just know that healing is possible, and I just hope from the bottom of my heart that some people who really need to hear this message today, I really hope they are going to hear it, and hopefully it's going to shift the trajectory of their life from being traumatized to healing and a brighter future. I hope so.
Camellia, I'm so happy that you are with us today.
Thank you.
It's a lot again, and I hope to have you again in another podcast, again in another episode maybe. So I just want to thank you for being with us, for sharing your story, and for everyone who's listening to us. You can find Camellia on the links that we're going to share in the episode, but I just want to show the book, The Spy Arena, when you have the chance. I'm gonna put the link as well below, so you can buy the book. It's on Amazon. You can buy it even paper or online. So go and buy the book. It's a book really amazing, inspired from her real life. Just remember that is out. There is light out there, and Camellia is a very strong example of transformation and healing in life, and everything is possible. So the first step of clarity in life is coming with a courage. So take the step, take the courage to make a change, a decision, and everything can be much better in our lives.
Thanks so much. And that book that you are holding in your hands, it's proof that healing is possible, because I never got to finish what I was meant to finish, what I was meant to say. I only had the courage to publish my book last year in September, because I healed last year and the book came out in September, which September is Suicidal Awareness Month worldwide.
Okay.
That's how deep that is for me.
Wow.
So thanks so much for giving me the space to share my message.
Thank you so much for being with us. And
thank you.
Next time, we'll see you next time on Clarity Podcast.